and welcome to another version of, not version I should say, another rendition and edition of Mobile Watch. It is the playground where we play with all things digital, especially mobile, and I have the distinct honor and privilege to sit with one of my favorite people for the last 25 plus years, which already ages me.
Ages all of us.
This is Yash Samat. Yash Samat, who has recently become Chairman and Managing Director of Grey Group India, and it's no small feat, an agency that was started with Ravi Gupta's legacy. You've been there when Ravi Gupta was alive,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I remember joining Grey in 96, 97, and not to mention you had the most amazing office in the building, but you were already a legend then, I mean, you were handling the Procter & Gamble business.
Too long.
Yeah, but you're already handling the Procter & Gamble business, and I think doing it in such a way, to handle that business in such a way that it didn't affect the other businesses while keeping the independence of that business, right? So first and foremost, many congratulations.
Thank you.
Not a small feat and not an easy role, I'm sure,
Yes.
right?
Tough. It has its exciting moments, interesting, but tough. Yes.
Yeah. And I love what you said recently, and I came across some words you had said, and you said, no one has a blueprint anymore. You have to be agile in this game. And I think for someone who's probably been a witness to how the agency business has changed, I just want to better understand where did that statement come from.
So basically, we started at a time in advertising when TV was king, right?
Yes.
And it was just, you brands had their strategies.
Yes.
Based on that, you created your, communication strategy, your ideas, and you did your, TV along with some print and radio and some outdoor, and that was your campaign. You saw how it went for, you tested it, you put it on air, and then 6 months later or 9 months later, when fatigue set in, you had the next campaign. And of course, in between there was competitive action and you had to respond to it. But there was
market research.
Research. So there was a plan that you worked towards, and it was still,
relevant.
It was relevant. It was still a stressful industry because you were working for clients and there were a lot of things that needed to be done, on an emergency basis.
Definitely
sometimes reacting very fast, sometimes reacting very fast to some competitive threat. So, but that whole model now with firstly the world of digital, which has made it so much about customization, which has made it so much about agility. The new millennial consumer also is, sort of very different from their parents and their grandparents. So, and in today's world, I think with the advent of digital, the whole digital media platforms, social media, lower attention spans, much better ability to sort of focus and target. That has completely changed the world. And in fact, I actually feel that now I'm actually unlearning a lot of what I've learned. Because for example, the whole advantage of depth and scale, I think has changed. Because, firstly, FMCGs, they scaled their production, they had quality products, and they spent on TV big bucks. So those were big entry barriers. Today they're not. Because, small players can target small levels, small sort of cohorts of consumers through the internet, produce cleverly something small, and advertise only to that niche group and make a lot.
And therefore be efficient as well.
And be efficient, also chip away shares from the big players. Plus, even attitudinally, the consumer mistrusts the big now. They sort of feel that the big guys are the ones who are doing all the bad stuff in the world. So, in many ways, that world has changed, and I think we need to change along with it. And not only has it changed, but it's changing every day.
Correct.
So it's not that you can learn and then relax. You have to every day change
Every
your
day
learning and figure out what you're doing and how do you address your consumer differently, how do you, something new you've learned and how does that become part of your plan. So it is a very different world.
So this learning economy that everyone keeps talking about, it looks like in advertising is front end and center, right?
For sure. And the other thing that's happened is because of the scaling not being as all pervasive as it used to be, that has also cut budgets. Because you have to spend smaller amounts on many more rather than one big chunk and one large target audience with large TV spends and that whole. So that's why the agencies are struggling on how to sort of create agency structures and processes that can survive and profit in this world. But it is very different, and you know, and we're all learning and making changes.
Exactly, and not just this world, right? So what you're saying is that by the time you probably put a structure in place, it's already moved, right? So
exactly.
it's a moving target.
So you know, and that's why the importance of fix and flow. You know, not having big fixed expenses. How do you manage with, you know, and that's why if you see the today's new agencies, agility and even the structures, it's a lot about a few thinkers and ideators with maybe a lot more legs. You're not so many layers, you know, a different way, you know, and yet, you know, legacy agencies like us are not structured like that, and yet there is value to what we bring. Because the clients are also, I think, very often sort of struggling between what they need in terms of deeper thinking, quality of servicing, quality of creative idea and planning that they want of the big agency, but they also want the agility and the cheapness of a new player. And how do we find the best?
Finding a perfect bite for something.
You know,
how can you do all this?
And I want everything, you know. So
add a budget.
And the budgets are lower. So we are also figuring out how best to find the sweet spot that addresses this, you know. And I think everyone's experimenting with different models. There may not be one answer. And we'll see.
But you know what? In some ways, it's nice, right? Because if everyone, whether it's the smaller agencies or the larger agencies or the legacy agencies, if they're all in the field learning at the same time, in some ways it's democratized it, right? So in some ways, just because one particular agency has a 100-year legacy, or you know, the Ogilvies of the world have been around, or the Graves that have been one of the pillars of advertising across the globe, versus, say, for example, a new, you know, incumbent that has just come in, it looks like if everyone is trying to figure it out, then maybe in some ways it's almost like an advantage, right?
No, and it's for sure, but you know, I'm not. So yes, and I think starting afresh has an advantage because you're not burdened with the old structures and processes, and you could start afresh in the way you think best, which is why a lot of the new agencies are, for example, production house back, you know, content back, post-production
media back,
you know, media back. So it's all, you know, so many other shopper back. So you know, now it will be e-commerce back because social commerce has become such a big deal, right? So there are all these things happening. It is great, but to be fair, our industry was always about finding the next new creative solution, and it was always very open to outsiders. You know, who came in with something clever and different.
You would embrace it.
So it did it. In a funny way, I think more democratization has happened actually from on the company side and the product marketing side, because you know, the advantages that the big FMCG companies, who were our biggest clients, had. That is getting chipped away in this new world. And of course the cascading effect is also impacting us. But the flip side of it is keeping us agile, it is keeping our minds active, looking at new solutions, we are learning new things.
Definitely no time to sleep, it looks like.
For sure not. You know, I have given up, and that's the good part of growing old, because you can actually do with less sleep.
I don't know who's old in this room. Yash, it's definitely not you.
I wish.
But no, so one more thing, right? So I mean, Procter & Gamble, right? I mean, the Unilevers and the Procter & Gambles of the world, and I've had an opportunity to work on Unilever and P&G. But you know, those were, I still keep in touch with my clients, but I'm saying these were companies that brought planning into advertising, you know what I mean? And I have a feeling, and this is a hypothesis in mind, that companies like P&G have actually set some kind of benchmarks, even in digital, right? So when other people may have been hesitating and thinking of it as a trend that will go away, P&G kind of just took it. So you have had an opportunity to see P&G work in various markets. So do you think clients like P&G are actually pushing agencies like Ray to push the digital agenda? And if yes, like
for sure.
Love a couple of examples.
No, so they're definitely doing that, and they are really not just pushing the digital agenda, but much more about what do we need to change and do differently to make our brand loved by today's consumers. Okay, so
I love the line that it's not just to reach today's consumers,
it's to
be loved by today's consumers.
To be loved and wanted and desired, and you know, and delighting today's
especially in a market where there's no brand loyalty anymore.
There's no brand loyalty.
So what do you do to make a brand being loved by consumers? And that's a pretty tall order today.
And you know, and it has, you know, it's a whole network of in ecosystem of stuff that you need to do, you know, where you are, how often are you there, what is your point of view, over and above the brand sort of specific benefit you offer, you know, what's the language you speak, what are the clothes you wear, you know, are you, you know,
so
what
literally
will
like sleeping with the consumer,
what will make your brands truly talk worthy, and yes, they have, you know, so I think a lot of the big FMCG companies, Procter & Gamble, Unilever, all included, I think they saw what was coming, and I think we could have probably started experimenting with this a little bit earlier than we all did, but we didn't, and that's fine. But once they saw it, they have learned, they have embraced it, and they have learned almost a little bit faster than a lot of the others, you know.
Well, they have shareholders to answer to. It's an FMCG, it's a volume brand.
Exactly. So they're learning and they're figuring out what to do so that they retain the advantages of the brands they have, but also make them right for today's world. You know, so a lot of our campaigns now are sort of starting to be digital backed. A lot of them are very driven now by e-commerce. It's our highest growing, you know, sort of channel in many countries. You know, how
P&G is the #1 digital brand in the UK. It's amongst the top 5 digital brands in the world.
So they're doing that.
I mean, for a CPG company, like I want to put them on a pedestal.
So they've done that, and it's been tough learning. It's been, you know, and then they have learned and they have pushed us to sort of get ahead of the curve on that, and you know, and the reality is that they always feel the agencies are behind and they're ahead. You know, it's the sort of the realities of our business, and I think, as always, the truth is somewhere in the middle. In some cases, they're not wrong, because they have thrown much more resources and money at it than we have been able to. But the flip side of it is that
the trust,
you know, and we live in the world of many clients, learning, picking from here and there. Also knowing that the principles of communications, of the value of ideas, the value of those don't change. And how do you keep that while being able to do the rest well? And you see, a lot of the big FMCG clients, if you remember, people thought traditional agency would be dead and everyone would, you know, digitally, and they did. They experimented, but people come back. Now, not come back to eat us. Come back and telling us that you better get your act together on that, because that's what we want. And you know, so we're also, you know, so it's a I would say constantly evolving and changing goalposts, but it's challenging and interesting and fun also.
I would not be in any other profession in the world. But the thing is, so you know, some of the learnings, like for example, when Unilever and Procter & Gamble brought in account planning, it benefited some of the other clients, right? Who were also smaller. So my question would be like, the push that P&G, for example, is doing, great, right? And I'm just giving P&G as one example. Is that some of the learnings that are also helping other clients, right? Who may not have the bandwidth and the lessons that they do, right? So is that something that, for example, your team would push down to other clients, like, so, you know, in terms of the digital learning.
For sure, and I think, to be honest, there is no business that is without digital anymore. Okay. Now, it's also true that TV is not dead. People keep saying that, but that's not true. Okay. So how do you?
Everyone's watching more content.
More content, exactly. And how do you create the right content for today's world? I think making your brands talk worthy has become a much more of a priority than it used to be, and that means a whole lot of stuff. Okay, and yes, P&G is trying to put some, you know, is working with us to put some logic and system to it. By the way, very particular about ROI and how do you know, it can't just be money just thrown without ROI, and it's very difficult because it's even today, you know, it's not enough. There's not enough data and knowledge that exists. So how do you get that in place? And of course, all those things that they do will be good for the industry as a whole. You know, and a lot of agencies build capabilities on the back of the biggest clients, which then are used across. So for sure, but very often in today's world, by the way, we sometimes build capability on our small clients that are also useful for P&G.
Because they're more agile.
More agile and more open to, okay, let's try this. So that also happens.
Very nice.
So that's also
excellent.
So I think lots of interesting new stuff.
Nice,
I think the leadership that people like P&G and Unilever and Nestle and L'Oreal provide will continue to lead the industry and very important for the industry. but they also learn from small players.
Yeah. That's a great point.
I mean, a lot of the acquisitions they are making of the internet companies is not necessarily because they want to make billions of those brands, but it's also learn on how that business is handled. Because they know that's important in tomorrow's world.
So that's a great point. So talking about landscape, right? So now suddenly there are agencies like Grey, who I hold in great step because it's always stood as an agency to me. It's always been about the creative product. So I want to come back to that as a question though. But there are the Greys of the world, and then there are the digital first or the programmatic or XYZ, right? So suddenly the landscape has become, earlier they were the traditional agencies and the non-traditional. Then it became non-traditional, traditional and media agencies, right? So suddenly now it looks like, if earlier there was a joint family, now there are 29 nuclear families, right, in terms of the agency landscape. So what do you feel about like this little, programmatic and digital and video production and I don't know, what do you think of the new landscape?
I think everyone's trying to figure out the best way to create a wonderful P&L, right? And everyone's trying to, so it is going to happen and it continues. And sometimes we'll collaborate, sometimes we'll compete, sometimes we'll acquire. All that goes on and it's continue. But it's
an acquisition will be part of your KRA, right?
So meaning so I think it's all part of the game. And I think as WPP, as Grey, I think we need to figure out how we will best fill the gap that our brands are seeing and our consumers are seeing on how we are selling our our services. And and there are many ways to do it. And I think we'll figure out the best way, in the most sort of cost efficient way to do it, and quality of output continues to be important. So but yes, these things are going to happen. But I honestly feel that the more, what worries me, not worries me, because I think that itself is changing for the better. I think initially clients are very happy to go to, okay, I'll do this with Grey because that's all you can do. I'll do that with that agency, I'll do that with that agency, and I'll do this one with this thing. And I think it has not served them well. What started with the creative and media separation, which was such a bad idea.
I was going to say,
and now with all, and I think more and more clients are trying to get us to work as one 360 team, but when you're different P&Ls, it's not easy sometimes. Okay, so there are discussions on all that happen. But I think the more we can provide a well-rounded end-to-end service to our clients, and that may mean we have to work with some outside parties and get in capabilities we don't have by paying for them elsewhere, and that's fine.
But I'm trying to think for a client, right? Imagine first they used to handle one agency, then they started handling two. Now they have to handle 12 agencies.
So by the way,
how can it be easy?
So it's different. So some clients are very unhappy with that, and they come back to us and say that fine, I want to work only with you, but you don't have these capabilities. Can you figure out a way to work with them? And sometimes they'll ask our guys
so you become the person
the
who
leader who then coordinates and puts it all together. That some people do it like that.
Right.
Some people come and tell you that guys get the capability. We cannot, that. But some clients are quite excited. It's quite seductive to work with different agencies.
Because there are 12 people trying to
please you. And sometimes it's.
But then who owns the brand voice?
They own it. The clients own it.
But I'm just thinking, imagine you're now asking 12 people to coordinate and bring it all together.
So that they think they own it. It causes a lot of issues. That the equities get eroded. A whole lot of issues happen. Having said that, they also feel that they get a breath of freshness and newness. To be fair to clients, it's not just ego. Sometimes they get new thinking and stuff which they miss. So they try. But I feel more and more clients who truly value strategic thinking, brand equities, try to cut down, or at least have one leadership that can provide a central sort of theme to it and equity, sort of honesty to it, and stuff like that.
So you were with Grey when Grey was already known for great work, right? I remember I used to walk into the office and it's literally, to take my breath away. I was so happy to be there. You were with Grey New York, and post which Grey New York became a hot house for creative work, and you're back here now leading India, which with 65% of the population being less than 35, this country is like eager and hungry for great work, right? So it's big shoes to fill and a great legacy to carry on, right? So how do you see this amazing history that Grey has for creative work, and how do you see that continuing?
So for sure, the creative product continues to be our most important thing that we want to focus on and do whatever is needed to ensure that we can do that.
Yeah.
And
you are a believer of the creative.
Yeah, for sure. And for us, the biggest thing is obviously the right talent within the agency that understands the power of big ideas and how do you make it right, understands the culture. And you know, we are a big believer in ideas that are born of and drive culture, right? Which is what the famous effective sort of tagline of Grey is really supposed to stand for. So yes, we do that. I also think that it's important to build within this now the newer capabilities of technology and you know, the understanding of digital platforms and how e-commerce works, because all that will make sure that the creative is right for today's consumer. You know, how social media works, you know, so we're trying to do all that. But you know, I do feel that for, you know, for an agency of our size, I think we have a decent creative talent and product. We won a can, you know, this year from India, which we're very pleased about. And we have hopefully more interesting stuff to come.
I was going to ask you some of the work that you like that's coming out or has just come out. I mean,
so so our can thing was this thing called Sehat Ka Batwa, which is all about you know, having, you know, women in India keep money inside the blouse and using that to basically check for breast cancer kind of thing. So that was interesting.
That's great insight.
So we won a couple of cans. We also won at Spikes, you know, so that was great. Other than that, we've done some, you know, if you see sort of our work on Raymond is very nice. You know, we've just launched a campaign for the asthma inhaler, you know, for Cipla, which is really nice. Done some good work for IOCL, some really nice work for Britannia, ITC, soft fruit juices. You know, so we you know, some new work will soon come on Gillette and Pantene, which is fabulous. So we have some, you know, good work coming, and we're quite pleased and happy. I think there's always things to improve. There's always stuff you can do differently or better, which of course we're always working on. But I'm happy with the kind of work we're doing and the progress we've made.
So what's the biggest challenge that you face outside of trying to reinvent an agency like Grey and keeping the good parts?
I honestly think that the biggest challenge right now is that I think clients want the quality and services that big agencies have always given them, but they want to pay like they pay smaller digital companies, and it's really very tough. It's really tough to run
a business.
To run a business in a way that you really drive quality of strategic thinking, creative, and sort of overall business partnership with clients. At the prices that a lot of them want to pay.
Clients, please listen to this.
It's really tough.
You get the kind of work that you pay for, right?
So that, you know, and yet everyone wants the best work, right? And we want to give them that because we also take pride in our work, right? So that's one challenge that's, you know, that sort of you know, keeps you awake. And the second bit is just constantly, you know, you have to really constantly be on the move to see what's going on, what's, you know, how you stay in touch with what's changing, and really, you know, how to get a little ahead of the curve versus constantly reacting. You know, so that's the other big thing, I think. And the reality is that the workload is heavy. People are busy. So sometimes people are not even thinking. They're just, you know, mechanically doing the work, and that's not a good. That's not good. You know, I don't think the whole agency should be doing that, but some people at the agency need to be doing that and driving that change. You know, and sometimes we just so overwork we forget. You know, so those are the challenges, I think. But it continues to be interesting. It's great to work with young people. Keeps you young. Keeps your mind fresh.
What is the toughest part about your job? This particular role, at this particular moment in time.
I think just ensuring that I have a business model and a P&L that can ensure I have the best talent that can do amazing work. You know, and how do you keep that balance going? I think that's what keeps me awake at night sometimes. You know.
And what is the one thing that people don't know about Yash?
About me? I don't know.
That you're an accomplished singer.
I wish I was. I think all talents on one side and a good singing voice on the other. I wish I'm tone deaf, sadly. Maybe that's what they don't know.
No, I want to thank you, Yash. We're sitting in the Mediacom office over here in India, and I always say when you have 5 days in Bombay, like I did, I spend it with stalwarts and influencers like you. It is really great to see you always being such a role model, not just for the industry but for me.
Thank you.
And as a mother myself, I've seen you, have a son and still continue in the industry, which may not have been easy. So I really hope that it gives passion and optimism to a lot of the new people coming into advertising.
I hope so,
So I hope that you'll end this with maybe a couple of lines of advice for people who are coming into advertising, looking for glamour. I haven't found it yet, except sitting with you here.
No, I wish. No, I think it's an industry that can keep you energized, alive, motivated. Because it's interesting, and the best thing about this industry is that you're working with all kinds of minds. You've got very sort of strategic, analytical, and I'm really generalizing here, sort of quantitatively smart minds, which I know that a lot of our client side have. You work with filmmakers, you work with music directors, you work within the agency, you work with amazing creative people. So and also you have a huge client mix. So I have clients who are entrepreneurs, I have clients who are very in large corporates, I have clients in between, So I think the best thing about this industry is that it gives you some stability and depth of your disciplines, but lot of fresh stuff. You're constantly meeting new different people, so you'll never be bored. But you must come to this work with passion. Don't do your job mechanically like a postman, because if you do it, you'll be demotivated and you'll do really badly. So if you don't have that passion, don't come. You have to do that, and I honestly think, unfortunately, our starting salaries are not great, but if you do well, you can do really well and you grow well, and so it's worthwhile. But come if you want to do it, not because you didn't get any other job.
I know, right?
So that would be my only,
So I hope to welcome you back maybe next year, back to Mobile Watch,
right?
That'd be fun. And by then, hopefully, instead of just a couple of calm lines, you'll have probably an entire wall.
Thank you.
Right, an entire pride.
Thank you.
So, signing off with Yash, thank you for watching, and please continue following Mobile Watch on Ad India.
Thank you very much.